Okay, we're talking about quadrilaterals today. We're going to talk about, you can kind of consider it quadrilaterals like a family tree. Quadrilaterals is the most basic, most generic of the quadrilaterals, is because it's all it is four-sided. And then we're going to talk about more specific quadrilaterals, right, that have to have certain things. But quadrilateral, it just has to have four sides. It's just a four-side polygon. Okay, here's a more specific quadrilateral. It's a trapezoid. Right, trapezoid, a four-side figure, so that's why it's a quadrilateral, but it only has a pair of parallel sides. So it's not really specific. They just have to be parallel. Right? One side, one pair has to be parallel. The size, the length, none of that stuff matters. All that matters is that it has a pair of parallel sides. So that's trapezoid. So not very specific, just really basic. All right, write this down. All right, here's parallelogram. It's a more specific quadrilateral. It's a quadrilateral, but the opposite sides are parallel and equal. All right? Opposite sides are parallel and equal. Here, this side's parallel and equal with this side. This side's parallel and equal with this side. Okay? It's not really specific, but it is more specific than trapezoid or just quadrilateral. So it fits in the family of quadrilaterals because it has four sides, but it's more specific. It has opposite sides that are parallel and equal. All right? Write this down. All right, rectangle. It's in the family of quadrilaterals because it's four-sided. Okay? And it's also a parallelogram because all the sides are equal, or the opposite sides are equal, and they're parallel. But it's more specific than parallel because it has four right angles. So it's a quadrilateral, has four sides. It's a parallelogram because the opposite sides are equal and parallel, and it's a rectangle because it has four right angles. So it's more specific. One of the most specific quadrilaterals. And here's the last of the most specific quadrilaterals, it's square. Alright, so a square, it's a rectangle because it has the right angles, but it's considered square because it has four congruent sides. A rectangle doesn't have four congruent sides. It just has sides that are parallel and are equal with right angles. Right? So again, a square is a rectangle. A rectangle is a parallelogram, and a parallelogram's a quadrilateral. And this is the most specific one, in just my opinion, because it fits. It's a rectangle, right? It's also a quadrilateral. It's also a parallelogram. So if you're ever asked the question, is a square rectangle? Is a square rectangle? Yes, it fits the definition of rectangle, does it not? But does a rectangle fit the definition of square? No. It's just like when we've talked about the family of like real numbers, where you had irrational and rational, and then inside rational you had integers and whole, right? An integer is a rational number. It can be written as a fraction. But is a rational number necessarily an integer? No, because integers don't have decimals and integers don't have fractions. Rational numbers can. They can have those. So it's just like this. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not necessarily a square. All right? And here's the last of the quadrilaterals. Okay? And it's rhombus. Okay, so rhombus, it's a parallelogram with four congruent sides. So it's like a square. It fits everything with square, except it doesn't have the four right angles. Right? It has four congruent sides like a square does. It has opposite sides that are equal and parallel. But it just doesn't have the four right angles. So that's why I don't think it's the most specific parallelogram or quadrilateral. I think square is, because a square is a rectangle is a parallelogram is a quadrilateral. Rhombus is just a parallelogram, but it's just like a square. All right. So a square could be considered a rhombus, right? But a rhombus couldn't be considered a square. Kind of. Right? Any questions? All right, write this down. The sum of the angle measures of a quadrilateral is 360. We've talked about triangle. They all add up to 180. Quadrilateral adds up to 360. They always do. It doesn't matter if it's a parallelogram or a rhombus or a trapezoid. Hey, they all add up to 360. So you just take all the angles and add them up. No matter what it says each angle is, just put them here, add them up. They equal 360. So let's do that. Draw this. Alright, so you've got 4 angles. You add them all up. Hey, it doesn't matter what they say about it, whether it's x or x plus 3 or x minus 8 or 2x or even 5x minus 3. You just write what each angle is. So x plus 97 plus 87 plus 110. And we know it's equal to 360. We've been told that. So add 97, 87, and 110. What do you get?
294.
You get 294. It's equal to 360. You subtract 294 to both sides to get x by itself. Right. X must be what?
86.
X is 66 degrees. So there's your answer. Okay, so we add up all the angle measures and we set equal to 360. So again, just write what you see. Doesn't matter what it is, just write what you see. The first angle is x plus 7. Plus, and then write the next angle, x. And then write the next angle, 75. Plus, Jaden, what would be that little square in the corner? What do we think that is? What does that represent?
90-degree angle.
It's a 90-degree angle. It's a right angle, which we know is 90 degrees. Good. And then set that equal to 360. Anytime you have something like this, you combine like terms. So anything that has the exact same variable, which is x and x, and these are what we call constants. The numbers that don't have a variable, those are like terms as well. So x plus x is 2x. And then we add 7, 75, and 90. 90 plus 75 is 165. So 165 plus 7 is 172. And that's equal to 360. William, what would I need to do? Good, I have to subtract 172 because I've got to get x by itself. So I undo what's being done. If I'm adding 172, I got to subtract 172. Well, I do one side, I do the other. What is 360 minus 172? 188. Then I divide that by 2. I undo what's being done. If you don't know, look at it. 2x is a multiplication problem. 2 times x. So I divide both sides by 2. X must be 94 degrees. Right? But what if it says write all 4 angles? I got 94. I got 75. I've got 90. What's the last angle? How do I find x plus 7?
94 plus 7.
I put 94. I plug it in for x because I know that's what x is. I add 7 to it. Get 101. Right? That's here. And now I know all 4 angles, if that's what it's asking for. Any questions? All right, here's your homework assignment.